There are things women understand about attraction, connection, and emotional power that most men never learn. Not because women are trying to deceive men, not because this knowledge is evil, but because if men understood it too early, the entire dynamic between men and women would change. This is the psychology men are not supposed to know. Not written in books, not taught in school, not explained honestly by society. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Most men believe women fall for words, promises, effort, or persistence. They think attraction is something you earn by doing enough of the right things. But that belief keeps men confused, exhausted, and invisible. Because the truth is simpler and more uncomfortable. Women don't respond to what you say. They respond to how you make them feel about themselves when they're around you. And most men unknowingly create the opposite feeling. They make women feel pressured, watched, evaluated, emotionally crowded. And women instinctively pull away from that. This video is not about blaming women. It's about understanding them. Because understanding female psychology is what turns good men into frustrated men. And once you understand this correctly, attraction stops feeling random. It starts making sense. Here is the first forbidden truth. Women are far more emotionally aware than men give them credit for. Not intellectually, emotionally. They notice shifts in tone, changes in energy, hidden intentions behind words. A woman can sense insecurity even when a man is smiling. She can sense expectation even when he's pretending to be relaxed. This is why men who say the right things still fail, because what matters isn't correctness, it's congruency. If your words say confidence, but your energy asks for approval, she feels the contradiction, and contradictions destroy attraction. Another truth men aren't taught is this. Women are not attracted to effort, they are attracted to emotional stability. Effort without stability feels heavy. It feels like pressure. A man trying too hard creates an emotional imbalance where she feels responsible for his feelings. And that responsibility kills desire. This is why women often pull away from men who are overly attentive, overly available, and overly expressive. Not because they are cruel, but because their nervous system feels crowded. Attraction needs space. Another uncomfortable truth is that women don't fall for potential the way men do. Men fall in love with who a woman could be. Women fall in love with how a man already is. Presence matters more than promises. A man who is calm, grounded, and emotionally self-sufficient feels safe and intriguing at the same time. Safety lowers defenses. Intrigue creates desire. That combination is rare. This is also why women are drawn to men who don't explain themselves too much. Explaining signals uncertainty. Certainty signals leadership. Leadership here does not mean control, it means emotional direction. A man who is emotionally directed doesn't look to others for permission to feel okay. And women instinctively trust that. Another thing men are rarely told is that women are always responding to emotional subtext, not what you say, why you're saying it. If you compliment her because you want something, she feels it. If you ask questions because you want validation, she feels it. If you listen because you're hoping to be chosen, she feels it. And once she feels that need, attraction starts fading. This is why women often say things like, "I don't know, something just felt off." What felt off was emotional dependency. Women are biologically wired to move away from emotional instability, not because they are cruel, but because stability equals safety, and safety is the foundation of desire. Another forbidden truth is this: women don't want to be chased emotionally. They want to be chosen by a man who doesn't need to chase. Chasing communicates scarcity. Scarcity communicates low value. A man who is whole on his own doesn't rush toward validation. And that restraint creates curiosity. Curiosity is what keeps attraction alive. There is also something deeply misunderstood about mystery. Mystery is not distance. Mystery is not coldness. Mystery is emotional depth that isn't handed out immediately. When a man reveals everything too fast, there is nothing left to discover. Discovery is exciting. Predictability is not. Women are naturally drawn to depth they haven't fully explored yet. This is not manipulation. This is human psychology. Another thing men are rarely told is that women don't test men to hurt them. They test them to understand them. Small challenges, playful resistance, emotional shifts. These tests reveal whether a man is reactive or grounded. A reactive man chases. A grounded man remains steady. And steadiness creates trust. Trust creates openness. Openness creates attraction. This is why emotional control is one of the most attractive traits a man can develop. Not emotional suppression, emotional regulation. A man who can feel without being controlled by his feelings is rare, and rarity is attractive. The final truth for this part is this. Women don't want to be impressed. They want to feel relaxed. Relaxed enough to be themselves. Relaxed enough to feel safe. Relaxed enough to feel desire without pressure. When you become a man who creates relaxation instead of tension, everything changes. In the next part, we're going to go deeper into why women subconsciously protect their emotional power, how they respond differently to men who are grounded versus men who are eager, and why trying to understand women logically often backfires. Stay with me, because once you understand this, you stop fighting attraction, and attraction starts working with you instead of against you. To understand female psychology at a deeper level, you need to understand something most men never notice. Women are constantly protecting their emotional power, not consciously, instinctively. Their emotions guide their attraction, their bonding, and their decisions. So subconsciously, they guard that emotional core very carefully. This is why women are selective about who they open up to, not because they are cold, but because emotional openness creates vulnerability. And vulnerability is only offered where safety is felt. Most men unknowingly threaten that safety. They rush emotional closeness. They push for reassurance. They try to define the connection too early. From a male perspective, this feels honest and direct. From a female nervous system, it feels invasive. And the moment emotional safety is compromised, attraction shuts down. Here is something men are almost never told. Women don't want a man who understands their emotions. They want a man who is stable around them. Understanding is intellectual. Stability is emotional. A man can intellectually say all the right things and still feel unsafe to a woman if his emotional state is unstable. This is why women are drawn to men who are calm in situations where others would react. Calmness signals control. Control signals safety. Safety allows desire to exist without fear. Another forbidden truth is that women are always watching how a man handles uncertainty. Not because they enjoy confusion, but because uncertainty reveals character. When plans change, when communication slows, when emotions fluctuate, women observe. Does he panic? Does he pressure? Does he demand clarity? Or does he remain grounded? A man who can tolerate uncertainty without emotional collapse is extremely attractive because life itself is uncertain, and a woman is subconsciously asking one question: can I feel safe emotionally with this man when things are unclear? Most men fail this test without knowing it. They seek constant reassurance. They ask where they stand. They push for definitions. This communicates emotional dependence, and dependence creates imbalance. Women are not attracted to imbalance. They are attracted to polarity. Another truth that society rarely acknowledges is this: women experience attraction as something that happens to them, not something they choose. They don't decide to feel drawn, they feel drawn and then try to explain it logically. This is why logic-based advice fails men. You cannot logically negotiate attraction. You can only create the emotional conditions where attraction emerges naturally. And those conditions are calmness, groundedness, and emotional independence. This is also why women sometimes feel conflicted about their attraction. Their logical mind may resist, but their emotional system responds. And emotional systems always win. Another thing men misunderstand is emotional availability. Being emotionally available does not mean being emotionally exposed. Oversharing too early creates emotional pressure. Pressure makes women pull back. A grounded man reveals himself slowly, not to manipulate, but because depth deserves pacing. He understands that connection unfolds over time, and pacing creates anticipation. Anticipation is a powerful emotional driver. Another uncomfortable truth is that women are deeply sensitive to a man's relationship with himself. How he speaks about his life, how he handles stress, how he treats his own emotions. A man who is constantly dissatisfied, frustrated, or restless creates emotional tension around him. A man who is at peace with himself creates emotional relief. Relief is addictive. People move toward what makes them feel lighter. This is why women are drawn to men who seem internally settled, not perfect, not emotionless, but grounded. Another tiny detail men rarely notice is how women respond to men who listen without trying to fix. Most men hear emotions and immediately try to solve. Women often don't want solutions. They want space to feel. A man who can sit calmly with emotion without rushing to fix it feels emotionally mature, and emotional maturity is rare. Rare traits attract attention. Another important truth is that women are not attracted to men who center women in their lives. They're attracted to men who have a center beyond women. Purpose, direction, inner stability. When a woman feels like she is the emotional center of a man's life, pressure appears. Pressure kills attraction. When she feels like she is invited into an already full life, desire grows. Invitation feels good. Responsibility does not. This is why emotional self-sufficiency is so important. Not emotional distance, self-sufficiency. A man who can enjoy connection without depending on it is magnetic. And finally, there is one more truth that makes all of this work. Women don't want to be convinced. They want to feel. When you stop trying to make something happen, emotions are free to emerge. And when emotions emerge naturally, attraction feels effortless. In the next part, we'll talk about how women subconsciously respond to masculine emotional stillness, why men who slow down gain more influence, and how trying to speed things up destroys attraction without warning. Stay with me, because this is where the psychology becomes unmistakably clear. There is a reason women respond differently to men who slow down, and it has nothing to do with confidence tricks or dominance games. It has everything to do with emotional gravity. Men who move fast emotionally create noise. Men who move slowly create weight. And weight is felt. When a man speaks slowly, reacts slowly, and makes decisions without urgency, a woman's nervous system begins to relax around him. Relaxation is not boredom. Relaxation is safety. Safety is what allows attraction to deepen instead of burn out. Most men believe excitement creates desire. In reality, excitement only creates spikes. Spikes fade. What women are drawn to long-term is emotional steadiness. This is why masculine stillness is so powerful. Stillness communicates that nothing outside of you controls you. Not her mood, not her attention, not her approval. That independence is deeply attractive. Another forbidden psychological truth is this: women are always watching how a man handles power without using it. Not social power, emotional power. Does he try to control the interaction? Does he steer emotions aggressively, or does he allow things to unfold naturally? A man who does not rush to control emotional direction signals trust in himself, and self-trust invites trust from others. Another thing men misunderstand is why women sometimes seem distant after moments of connection. Men assume attraction disappeared. In reality, something else happened. Her emotional system needed space to process. When attraction begins forming, emotions intensify. Intensified emotions require integration. A man who respects that space increases desire. A man who invades that space destroys it. This is why pulling back emotionally at the right moments is not rejection, it is regulation. A man who allows emotional space without anxiety demonstrates mastery, and mastery is attractive. There's also something important about how women experience desire internally. Desire grows in imagination, not in certainty. When everything is clearly defined too soon, imagination dies. And when imagination dies, desire follows. This is why men who push for clarity too soon kill attraction without realizing it. They think clarity equals security. But emotional security does not come from definitions. It comes from a consistency. A woman feels secure when a man's emotional state remains stable over time, not when he labels the connection early. Another truth most men don't see is how women react to emotional leadership. Emotional leadership does not mean deciding for her. It means holding your emotional frame regardless of what she brings. If she is excited, you don't get carried away. If she is anxious, you don't absorb it. If she is uncertain, you don't collapse. You remain grounded. That grounded presence becomes an anchor, and people are drawn to anchors in emotional chaos. Another critical piece of female psychology is this: women are not attracted to men who are emotionally predictable. They are attracted to men who are emotionally consistent. Predictable means boring repetition. Consistent means stable presence with depth. Consistency allows trust. Depth allows curiosity. Together, they create attraction. Another thing men often miss is how women respond to restraint. Restraint is not lack of desire. Restraint is control over desire. A man who can feel attraction without acting impulsively is perceived as powerful because he is not driven by impulse. He chooses. Choice implies value, and value invites pursuit. This is also why men who constantly seek reassurance feel unattractive. Reassurance seeking communicates inner doubt. Doubt does not inspire trust. A woman cannot relax emotionally around a man who doubts himself. Another truth is that women feel safest with men who are comfortable with emotional ambiguity. Not knowing exactly where something is going does not scare women. What scares them is emotional instability in the face of ambiguity. A man who can stay calm without answers feels solid, and solidity is attractive. This is why masculine presence is often misunderstood. It is not aggression, it is not dominance, it is not control. It is emotional composure under uncertainty. That composure is rare, and rarity creates desire. In the next part, we will explore what happens when attraction transitions to attachment, how women decide whether to emotionally invest further, and why men who try to lock things in too early sabotage everything they built. Stay with me, because this is where most men lose the game without ever knowing why. When attraction begins to turn into attachment, a quiet shift happens that most men completely misunderstand. They think attachment means safety. They think it means certainty. They think it means they can finally relax. So they change. They become more available, more expressive, more emotionally open, more invested. And in doing so, they unknowingly reverse the polarity that created attraction in the first place. Attachment does not grow through increased pressure. It grows through emotional continuity. A woman decides whether to invest further based on one question she rarely asks consciously but always feels internally. Does this man remain the same when he feels closer to me? Most men answer that question by changing. They start checking in more. They start seeking reassurance. They start trying to secure the bond. From the outside, it looks caring. From the inside, it feels like emotional weight. And emotional weight creates resistance. Another forbidden truth is this: women don't attach to intensity, they attach to stability over time. Excitement alone does not sustain desire. Desire deepens when a woman feels that your emotional center does not shift based on her reactions. If she pulls back slightly and you chase, your center is moved. If she becomes affectionate and you suddenly become needy, your center has moved. Movement of the center creates uncertainty, and not the good kind. Good uncertainty fuels imagination. Bad uncertainty triggers caution. A man who remains centered regardless of emotional fluctuations signals something powerful. He is emotionally reliable, and emotional reliability is rare. Another thing men don't realize is that women are constantly sensing whether emotional connection is becoming an obligation. The moment connection feels like responsibility, desire fades. A woman wants to choose connection, not manage it. This is why men who make women feel responsible for their happiness become unattractive over time, not because they're bad men, but because emotional responsibility is heavy. Desire cannot survive under weight. Another deep psychological detail is how women respond to emotional availability. True emotional availability does not mean constant access. It means emotional presence when it matters. A man who is always emotionally available feels predictable. A man who is emotionally present but not dependent feels grounded. Grounded presence creates longing. Longing creates pursuit. This is also why women often pull away slightly when they start to feel emotionally attached. Not to test you, not to manipulate you, but to regulate their own emotional state. If you respond to that pullback with anxiety, pressure, or urgency, you confirm instability. If you respond with calm acceptance, you confirm strength. Strength deepens attachment. Another forbidden truth is that women bond through emotional contrast. Connection followed by space, warmth followed by neutrality, intensity followed by calm. This rhythm allows emotions to settle and grow. Men who try to maintain constant emotional closeness disrupt this rhythm, and without rhythm, attraction becomes flat. Another thing men rarely understand is that attachment requires trust in the future without needing guarantees in the present. Men seek certainty. Women seek consistency. Certainty is verbal. Consistency is behavioral. A woman trusts what she feels repeatedly, not what she hears once. This is why promises mean less than patterns, and patterns are created by how you show up emotionally over time. There's also a subtle shift in how women evaluate men once attachment begins. They stop asking whether they like you. They start asking whether they can relax into you. Relaxation is the true test. If being with you feels calming, attachment grows. If it feels demanding, attachment recedes. Another important truth is that women do not attach to men who are trying to hold on. They attach to men who are capable of letting go. Not because they want to leave, but because freedom feels safe. A man who could walk away calmly if needed is not threatening. A man who cannot let go is. This is why emotional independence is so attractive at deeper stages of connection. It removes pressure from love, and love without pressure feels natural. In the final part, we'll bring everything together. We'll talk about why women keep certain men in their minds long after interactions end, how emotional memory cements attraction or dissolves it, and how understanding the psychology connects directly to creating effortless pull without chasing. And at the end, you'll see exactly how this all ties into silence, presence, and emotional positioning in a way that makes women move towards you naturally. Stay with me, because this final understanding completes the picture. At the deepest level, everything you've heard in this video leads to one final realization. Women don't stay attached to men because of moments. They stay attached because of emotional memory. Long after conversations end, long after texts stop, long after time passes, what remains is the feeling her nervous system associates with you. Did she feel calm? Did she feel seen? Did she feel free? Did she feel emotionally safe without being controlled? This emotional memory decides everything. This is why some men remain in a woman's mind without trying, while others are forgotten even after intense connection. Intensity creates spikes. Spikes fade. Calm presence creates imprints. Imprints last. Women replay how they felt around you when they're alone, not consciously, instinctively. And the men they keep thinking about are never the men who pushed, pressured, or tried to secure outcomes. They are the men who allowed space. Space to feel. Space to wonder. Space to choose. Another forbidden truth is that women bond more deeply to men who did not try to bond with them. This sounds contradictory, but it isn't. Bonding that is forced feels unsafe. Bonding that is chosen feels powerful. A man who does not need attachment allows attachment to grow, because choice is the foundation of desire. This is also why women remember men who handled endings well. Men who didn't cling. Men who didn't resent. Men who didn't collapse emotionally. Grace at the end leaves a stronger imprint than desperation at the beginning. It communicates emotional maturity, and emotional maturity is one of the rarest traits in men. Another critical detail is this: women do not separate attraction from respect. If a woman loses respect, attraction dissolves. If she maintains respect, attraction can return after distance. Respect comes from self-respect, from boundaries, from emotional independence, from calm acceptance of reality. A man who respects himself teaches others how to treat him. And women feel safest with men who know where they stand internally. This is why trying to be unforgettable never works. Unforgettable men are not trying to be remembered. They are simply being consistent with who they are. They show up grounded. They speak honestly. They listen fully. They leave cleanly. And that cleanliness creates clarity. Clarity allows emotional memory to remain positive. Another thing men misunderstand is why women sometimes come back after long periods of silence. It's not because of words. It's not because of messages. It's because the emotional memory was unresolved in a positive way. No pressure was added. No damage was done. The nervous system remembers safety, and safety invites reconnection. This is why the psychology you've learned here is not about control. It's about removing what blocks attraction, removing urgency, removing neediness, removing emotional dependence. What remains is presence, and presence is felt without effort. Now, here is the most important takeaway of all. Women are not hiding this psychology from men out of malice. They protect it because attraction collapses under explanation. Attraction must be felt, not taught. But once you understand the mechanics, you stop interfering with it. You stop chasing. You stop forcing. You stop trying to be chosen. And when that happens, women feel free to choose you, naturally, instinctively, without pressure. This is what most men never learn. And once you internalize it, dating stops feeling confusing. It becomes simple. Be grounded. Be emotionally stable. Be self-sufficient. Allow space. That is the psychology men were never supposed to know. Now, if this video shifted the way you see attraction, there is one video you should watch next. In this video, we focused on the internal mechanics of female psychology, emotional safety, and why presence matters more than effort. But understanding psychology alone is not enough. You also need to know how to express that presence through silence, timing, and emotional positioning in real interactions. That's exactly what I break down in my video called Make Her Case You Without Saying a Word. That video shows you how everything you learned here translates into real-life moments, real conversations, and real attraction without chasing. Watch that next, because when psychology and presence align, attraction stops being something you pursue. It becomes something that moves towards you.